really low in the list. It was mainly no new wars and fixing the economy and affordability and our affordability problem, also fixing spending. Those all kind of go together because, I mean, look, man, if you don't do one, you can't have the other. I mean, that's all I wanted. Honestly, he could have just said F all that about transgender and abortion. I'd have still been like, all right, but at least you focusing on what's important.
Okay, so let's look at our state of play here. The president is once again saying the war in Iran will be over soon. Of course, he's been saying that for 50 days. The good news is, at 60 days, the War Powers Resolution of 1973 mandates the end of military action immediately unless Congress votes to extend. Will they do their important duty of voting on the billions of dollars and the
No, because Dems are being very duplicitous with their support. Look, Dems are over here like, throwing tomatoes in public, but they're over here shaking pom-poms behind closed doors about this war. I mean, there's a lot of Dems who actually support this war, but they won't tell it to you because they know it's unpopular. And that's the reason why a lot of the Dems aren't even trying to stop it. Now, you think Chuck Schumer wants to stop this? No, you think, bro, Hakeem Jeffries wants to stop this? The guy that I was yelling, Israel today, Israel tomorrow, Israel every day. That Hakeem Jeffries, AIPAC Shakur, like, come on now. You think they're stopping this? Please, guys, please. The Dems ain't no better, guys. The Dems are not no better. But here's the thing, though. To be quite honest with you, the Dems were promoting war with Russia. So if you ask me, S.E.T, well, would you have voted for the Dems? Like, if you knew this was going to happen? Hell no, because they wanted to go to war with a nuclear power. If you chose war with Iran between war with Russia, sadly, I would choose war with Iran, even though I don't want no war whatsoever.
Tens of thousands of troops in harm's way in a situation that clearly is not going according to plan, and it is a war that is wildly unpopular every way they poll it. I argue this.
True.
The president should welcome this transition to Congress. See it this way. The regime has been degraded in some ways that matter, you could argue, and that would be a good thing for the people there and here. Now, the law says, and he respects the law, right? He's law and order, right? Loves the Constitution, hugs the flag. I have to go to Congress. That's what the law says. I have to give them recommendations. Here's what I would do. This is what I think. You could do this, you could do that. And then Congress must do its job and vote on which route to take. That's the law. That's what the Constitution suggests. They should vote to end it, which is what the American people want. But even if they don't, even if they vote to extend it, Trump no longer owns it alone. Best outcome in a bad situation? Well, let's look at where things stand more acutely. The president is insisting this promise to end the war within a week or so is different than the past several such false promises. This time he says the regime has caved to his demands. Is that true?
No.
Personal editorial note. I must say, it is deeply embarrassing for me to hear people keep asking whether they should believe the president of the United States or a terrorist Islamist regime. Sadly, I can't wave away their ambivalence as absurd.
Honestly?
And that is...
No, I hear it. But what I always tell people is, well, look at what they're saying and look what's happening on the field and which one matches up more to reality. Because I know both sides are spreading propaganda. That's the problem. Like, Iran isn't doing as well as they say they are, and neither is America. But the problem is you got to look out there on the field and don't listen to them, but look what's actually going on. Look at the pieces that are being moved. In this case, look at the ships, the soldiers, the missiles, drones. Look where all that's being moved. And that should tell you what's actually going on, despite what if you're in Iran, what your supreme leader tells you, and if you're in America, what Trump tells you or your president.
Is demoralizing as an American, to be honest. But here's what we know. This morning, Iran's foreign minister posted, in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of ceasefire. Our president interpreted that as the strait's fully open, the deal is not tied in any way to Lebanon. Okay, The regime's
But then, we get a ceasefire with Lebanon and not Israel, but Iran opens up the strait. So pretty much we gave Iran what they wanted there. But after that, apparently we weren't trying to give them anything else. Because trust me, I'm pretty sure Israel was already pissed off going, wait, we can't bomb innocent civilians? What are you saying, Trump? I thought you were on our side. No, Bibi, you got to sit down. You can't bomb innocent civilians in Lebanon no more. We got to get to this peace deal, okay? Okay.
Says they can close the strait if the ceasefire ends. Trump says the terrorists have agreed to never close the strait again. Trump says the regime is already removing mines from the sea. The regime propaganda online suggests that is not happening. On the Israel issue, the president says Israel will not be bombing Lebanon any longer. They are prohibited from doing so by the USA in all caps. Then a senior American official walked it back.
So guys, make sure to double tap that screen and hit the like button, guys, or smash the like button depending on how you're watching. And if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just $2 and up on YouTube, and I think it's like $1 on Venmo. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's keep it going.
Saying Israel preserves its right to self-defense against planned, immediate, or ongoing attacks. In other words, if Hezbollah bombs, which they likely will, Israel can and likely will bomb back, and the regime will likely say, well, now we can close the strait. Look, I hope none of that happens, but hope is not a strategy. On the future of nuclear enrichment, Trump says the regime has agreed to stop enriching uranium forever. The regime says, no deal. After all the insistence that President Obama gave the regime access to frozen assets that belonged to them, that was all fuel for exporting terror. Worst thing ever. The president is now reportedly considering doing the same, to the tune of $20 billion in frozen assets in exchange for the regime turning over its stockpile.
And as you heard, and during Trump's recent Truth Social, that's all BS. He's like, I'm not doing that. I know it was proposed, but we're not giving these guys no money for their nuclear enrichment. Pretty much, we're not going with the Obama strategy. I mean, this would be 10x the Obama strategy, to be real with you. They'd be getting way more money than they got from out of Trump than Obama if that was to actually go through. And the neocons would never forgive Trump. The pro-Israel crowd would turn against them, and they're going to start turning into Democrats. Watch, you can see Ben Shapiro turn into a whole leftist if that deal was to go through.
The president denies those reports, saying we will get their nuclear dust and no money will exchange hands. That line is the same explanation members of the JCPOA gave. We're not giving them money. They're just getting what was theirs back. No money exchanges hands. But again, even here, the regime's foreign ministry is now denying they will ever hand over any uranium. Look, somebody is lying. Maybe multiple people are lying. So, what are we supposed to think? Who are we supposed to believe? Where do things really stand? Let's get some perspective from better minds. Former State Department Mideast Peace Negotiator Aaron David Miller. Former Assistant Secretary of State General Mark Kimmett. Good to see you both. ADM, help me. What would you say if somebody says, who do we believe here? What's your answer?
First of all, Chris, it's great to be here with you and Mark. Look, the truth is on this one, Chris, we really don't have enough information to determine whether or not there is serious potential traction in a deal between Iran and the United States. We just don't know. Credible reporting suggests there's a 3-page MOU that's been worked on. Some issues are closed, some remain open. That's point number one. Number two, if the president thinks he's going to get out of this negotiation without meeting some Iranian needs and requirements, that's not what happens in a negotiation. And you identified two issues, the $20 billion, and remember, you've got $100 billion of frozen assets, most of which are in commercial banks, and it'll never exchange hands because the banks will literally deliver the funds to the Iranians directly. There won't be pallets of cash as there was during the Obama years in and around that prisoner exchange. On nuclear enrichment, the president clearly knows that what he said is not true. At best, it'll be a moratorium, a sensation. The Iranians say 5 years. The administration says 20 years. All of these details, Chris, are going to, there's no point in speculating about them. They're going to come out, or
literally the demands are just so far apart. Like, they might as well meet in the middle and say 20. Well, my bad. We'll meet in the middle and say 10 years memorandum, no nuclear enrichment. Meet in the middle and say, all right, won't give you 20 billion, but we'll give you 10 billion. But like I said, Trump wants unconditional surrender type of deal here. And let's be real, he hasn't militarily gotten that. He hasn't been able to force Iran to that. And for some reason, maybe people is filling his head full of lies, but maybe that's what he truly believes. Maybe he truly believes that he has Iran in that corner to where they should be accepting their maximalist terms, but they're not. And I think Trump should see this by now. It's like, bro, they're not accepting these maximalist demands because, one, they have cards, and two, well, let's be real, you haven't really brought them to their knees like you said you did. Like, if this ceasefire was to pop up, was to end today, they'd still be able to fire missiles into Israel, the Gulf regions, drones as well, and close the Strait of Hormuz. Still,
they won't. And you're going to end up with a serious effort to create an agreement and a pathway out of this, or you.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in the conversation by double tapping that screen and liking the video. If you have any questions, comments, jokes, disagreements, feel free to super chat it in or Venmo it in. Appreciate the support.
Won't. I just want to get through all the noise. Let's be unmistakably clear about one determinative fact. This is a headline, but I think it's a trend line. The regime is going to survive. And it is going to survive with a newfound capacity to do two things. Number one, make life very difficult for the security and stability of Gulf states. And number two, it can close the straits, blockade or no blockade, it can close the straits at will. And Mark Emmett may have a military solution for how to keep the straits open, but I'm not sure the U.S. military or the American public is up for that. So we're between, on one hand, the possibility of a negotiation that could get us out of this war, and the prospects of serious escalation. We have a third carrier strike group, the George H.W. Bush, going to be in theater, and the Iranians are digging out their missile silos and preparing for the next round if, in fact, there is no negotiation.
That's why I like my Congress idea, and I hope that if it gets to 60 days, they finally take their duty under the law seriously. General, help us understand.
To override a presidential veto, though, Chris, that's a problem. You need enough votes to override a presidential veto. And the Republican Party, hey, maybe you got an inside track on this. He still owns them.
Yeah.
No, I have no inside track. I think that there is fealty to the president in a way I've never seen in a political party before. But they can do it by joint resolution, which means they do not need the president. So will they do that? I don't know, but I like it. I don't
know. Maybe if it threatens their, their seat, or their position, sure, they might do it. Or if they see this, like I said, if they see this war go on longer, they see the economy gets worse, then yeah, they're going to be Republicans pretty much voting against Trump. Like, it's going to happen. And I can already see some Republicans already ready to jump ship. But we'll see, because a lot of them are holding strong. A lot of them are Zionists, so they truly believe in this war and want this war with all their heart, sadly. So we'll see how that works out. But the more reasonable Republicans who aren't complete Zionists are probably sitting there going like, yeah, how long is this going to be? Because, the economy ain't doing so well. And I got an election to win in the midterms, bro. We can't keep supporting you in this unfavorable war. It's not popular. Not really. Your own base is not even supporting you. So if your base is not supporting you, these are Republicans, how do you think that's going to reflect on us? And it's already reflecting on the Republican Party because we're having bad voter turnout already.
I like it for him, but more importantly, I like it for me. I like it for us to put the burden on Congress. Don't have Trump have to carry what may be perceived as an L all on his own. But we'll see. Congress is as scared as anyone.
Oh, yeah, guys. I went ahead and posted the Venmo to the top, or you can go ahead and hit that QR code depending on how you're watching.
General, thank you for your patience. Help us understand what your best understanding is of who is in control of what's happening in the Strait right now, and what are the variables that matter to you?
Well, listen, first of all, I think I've got to agree with Aaron, but I think we've also got to realize, just as the president is trying to negotiate in public, the 10-point plan of the Iranians that talked about the Americans paying reparations, leaving the region, a mutual defense agreement for concessions. I think both sides are negotiating in public, and nobody knows more than your friend ADM the difference between negotiating in public and negotiating in private. So I think what we've just got to realize is that we're seeing a whole lot of noise out there on both sides, and I wouldn't take a whole lot of account of either.
Good, because otherwise it's maddening to think that I have to balance the equities of credibility between a bunch of crazy Islamists and the president of the United States. On the military front, General, is your sense that America is in control and in a way that the regime cannot really disturb if the U.S. military doesn't want it to?
Well, in fact, I think you've got three parties. You've got the Iranians, you've got the Americans, and you've got the international insurance companies. Listen, the insurance companies, I found this out while negotiating the counter-piracy resolution in the United Nations. In many ways, the last vote goes to the insurance companies. As long as there's some instability in the Gulf, they're not going to let any of their boats through. Yep. But having said that, I think both sides have the capability to gum up the whole situation. The Iranians have a tremendous fleet of speedboats. They kind of look like Boston whalers. They have anti-ship cruise missiles on them. So they can certainly do, as they did in the 1981 to 1988 tanker war, they can make attacks on both military and commercial vehicles. On the other hand, you've got the Americans on the other side of the blockade that can certainly stop any ships from coming in or going out. So I think both have the capability to stop traffic, but at the end of the day, that traffic will not move if the insurance companies don't let them.
It's amazing how much of life, no matter what it involves, comes down to money, one way or another. General, thank you very much. ADM, appreciate you as always. Gentlemen, we'll get more information. We'll reconvene. Thank you both. I wish you both a safe and uneventful in terms of geopolitics weekend. 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Coming up, the president said yesterday, we have the best economy in the history of the United States. And there is some truth to that. The stock market hitting historic highs.
Fantastic.
Our
stock market, fantastic. I mean, it's the Dow no longer at 50,000, but still good. I mean, the S&P 500 recovered like fantastically, but the American people are still going through an affordability problem because of inflation's up, and so are gas prices. And that height in gas prices is carrying over into other products as well. So, you know, the economy is doing well. Businesses are making money, but the American people are still feeling the unaffordability crisis. So, yeah, guys, I mean, Republicans, you might want to focus on that instead of war with Iran. You know, just I don't know, just some friendly advice.
Your earnings, they're up, depending on who you are and what you do. But the feeling is that the majority of us know money is not going as far as it used to. Feelings, facts. Let's debate.
And we're blowing it out now. We're blowing it away now. Despite our little diversion to the lovely country of Iran, lovely place, but we had to do that because otherwise bad things could happen.
First time I've ever heard a war referred to as a little diversion. Look, here's the fact.
Literally.
The stock market is at an all-time high. The problem is Wall Street and Main Street are very different realities. And America has made a choice to accommodate investors and businesses more than workers and families.
And sadly, Wall Street is putting more into AI than actual employment. If you look at the numbers, that's the sad reality. That what was it? Like AI is taking a whole lot of jobs. Companies are invoking more AI than hiring actual people. That's also a huge problem as well. That's affecting, you know, job numbers and of course, you know, the affordability problem as well.
The thought was, if you preference the businesses and the investors, they'll take care of the workers and families. They have taken care of themselves. Okay? Now, If the Strait of Hormuz actually stays open, you saw a bump back in the price of oil, which makes sense, and that will happen. But like they said, okay, the price of oil goes up like a rocket and comes down.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. If you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. But let's make sure we are double tapping that screen, guys. Let's get the 300 likes.
Like a feather. All right. So this is a good sign if it stays this way, but we have added to the economic pressures with what is going on in Iran. Know that and contrast it with this.
As part of our tax cuts, we delivered, a lot of you benefited by this, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. And this week, millions of Americans received the largest tax refunds of their lives.
I mean, no, tax refunds were decent. The what was it? The overtime premium, yeah, that really jumped a lot of people's tax returns up. So I got to give Trump that, but only if you didn't, do it in the middle of a war where gas prices are up, inflation's up. So these guys getting this refund check, it's kind of like damn near don't even matter. It don't even matter. Their money was worth their money was worth more last month. Like, what the fuck? And now we're bragging about that? Like, oh my goodness. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's no good way to sell this without just being delusional for Trump. Like, you really got to sit there and just be a complete cult member for Trump to sit here and think that this is helping the economy in any way, shape, or form, or this war is helping the American people in any way, shape, or form.
Look, that is true. Now, you can qualify it, tax on tips, but only this much, and there's other things. Everything gets offset. Here's the reality, okay? Every time we measure, since this president came back in, how Americans feel about the economy, it's going down in terms of their level of confidence. Why? Because their purchasing power is not what they need it to be. Why is that? Or is that not the case? I'll tell you the answer to that right now is yes, it is the case. Yeah. But should you see it in a different context? Let's discuss. Former New Hampshire governor and now president and CEO of Airlines for America, Chris Sununu, and News Nation correspondent at large, Mr. Geraldo.
31% approved.
It is good to see you both.
My brother,
Chris Sununu, you are a true conservative, and you have often keyed your economic analysis to Main Street. And we talked many times during the campaign that you can't just look at investors. You got to look at the workers. There's a problem. Everybody knows it. That's why MAGA got traction with that group and stole a lot of Democrats. If you were part of this administration, would you say you have the best economy ever?
I wouldn't necessarily say I have the best economy ever, but like he's doing, I'd get on the road and find the 4 or 5 wins that he needs to take politically. So tax on tips is good. That touches the working class. Talking about Social Security, prescription drugs is another one that people don't talk about, but they have really controlled the prescription drug piece. And then finally, you got to remobilize the unions. You got to talk about reinvesting in manufacturing jobs here. And then, as you very correctly pointed out, gas prices are likely going to come down, but it ain't tomorrow, right? That's going to take time, so you have to hopefully let that wind come naturally. But he's got to get out there on the road. The only way to do it is to put Iran behind him. And the one negative point here that really he doesn't control, why do people have such a negative feeling on the economy when they are saving more, when the stock market is doing better than ever before? Look at credit cards. People have far and away more credit card debt than they've ever had before. Mm-hmm. And when you go home to your kitchen table and what eats at your gut, it's your credit card debt. So we don't talk about that, but that's record high. You got people that have $10,000 of credit card debt. They're ordering McDonald's on DoorDash or whatever. Like it's kind of crazy spending out there. And so that plays into the equation. So he's got to get out there and take the wins while he can.
I wish, Geraldo,
while he can. I mean, bro, he should be out here really making things more affordable so he can take all the wins. And if he wouldn't have gotten into this war with Iran, he'd been able to be able to fix the economy, further bring down inflation, further bring down gas prices like he was doing. Like, bro, we was at 2.4 inflation last month. We're at 3.3, guys. 3.3. $4 national price of gas, national average. Like, are you serious? Like, really, guys? And then you're saying, oh, don't worry, S.E.T. When the war is over, everything's going to drop overnight. That's not even true. It's going to take months for the economy to recover. So we're still going to have to deal with those high prices. But, hey, the sooner we get it done, I mean, hey, the less is dragged into the midterms.
DoorDash that was spiking consumer borrowing, but it is healthcare costs. That is, they are putting it on their credit cards and playing VIGs of 14,
Horrible.
17, 21, 23 on that money. You're in Cleveland, Ohio. How are people out there feeling? Best economy ever?
That's an interesting question. I think the people have the case of the gloomies, where objective evidence won't sway them and convince them that they should be feeling a lot better about the world than they really are. And I think that when you slice it to the next level, why is that? Let's take the pro-Trump core that is Ohio, essentially. Why are
Oh, I'm in Ohio, guys, if you don't know. Columbus, Ohio, exactly. So let's see what he got to say.
they so ticked off? I think Epstein had a lot to do with it. It soured people on the invincible president they believed in so totally. And I think the war that he promised that we would never get in, a foreign adventure, spending your money on the fields of Europe. I think that there's some real disconnects between what was the president's core. Even tonight, if you saw the event, maybe I was just hearing what I wanted to hear, but it seemed to me that the crowd there was a lot less enthusiastic than a turning point.
It's irritating me how they're not going to touch on the fact that, a lot of these companies are letting go a lot of Americans, a lot of workers for AI. And if that doesn't get under control, then, bro, they're going to be rioting the streets. We're going to have a terrible job market. But here's the thing. It sounds like the Trump administration is pushing AI to replace us more than actually pushing us into jobs. So let's see how that turns out, because like I said, this AI is going to get nipped in the butt if it keeps on going this direction. Even Elon Musk had to come out and say, like, yo, we're going to need universal income if all you companies want to keep laying off people because of AI. Like, yeah, and I'm shout out to Elon Musk because he said it straight up. He's like, look, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, look, you can't keep firing all these people and placing with AI and not expecting bad outcomes. Like, there's going to be riots. They're going to come for you guys in the street, and you're going to have Luigi Mangionis all over the place. And y'all going to deserve it because you pretty much sold them out for AI. So if y'all don't fix that, then we're going to have to come up with some type of universal income to where people are going to be okay with not having a job because the AI overlords are now providing universal income because they took all the jobs. And if you ain't doing that, then prepare to have your head put on a stick verbally.
USA crowd typically would be for Donald Trump. It seemed like flat. It seemed, I think people really do, have a sense. 2/3 of them, if they survey.
Hey, man, shout out to my man Galact. He says, holy shit, Set. Your Australian Jessica Taylor is glad you've realized Trump is out of his depth. I mean, bro, when it comes to this war, honestly, I honestly think this war might have stressed and aged this man out of his mind. Like, to be quite honest with you. And like I said, there was things happening before, but this war really done pushed Trump to the edge. I think this man is way too stressed. I think he's being erratic, and he knows it's not looking good, and he's trying to find a way out. To where he looks tough as well. And that's going to be the hard part, is finding a way out where you look tough. So let's see how this works out for my man.
Or to be believed, 2/3 of the American people believe the president is doing poorly.
God, let's be real. I don't wish failure on my president, but I'm going to be real when my president gets into a very dumb altercation that is hurting the American people in his presidency. I got to be real about that, even though I want him to succeed. But I got to be real when they're fucking up.
Or fairly on the economy, which was, as you suggest, his strong suit. So why are they feeling that if the wages are up, the S&P is up, all the indicators are positive?
Well, wages going up doesn't really mean anything if inflation's going up with it, my friend. That's the problem. I mean, if you were saying inflation's down and wages are going up by 3% every month over month, like, bro, okay, inflation's down, wages are going up. Yes, that's how you beat inflation. We're not beating inflation by wages going up along with inflation. That doesn't help anything.
What's going on? I really think that it is a sense of disillusionment and even
bro, unless y'all about to start paying Americans like 20% more across the board, bro, this inflation ain't really going nowhere unless you guys are really about to cover that bill. Because that's about how much buying power we lost under Biden and through their reckless spending. And a bit of Trump's reckless spending too during COVID, but Biden exacerbated it by adding on top of it.
Betrayal that people feel now toward the president and this war of choice.
The objective answer to the question is because of purchasing power. That's why. Whatever the metrics are at the end of the day, it's the plus minus on where you are at the end of the week. And, you know, when you're a check away from not being able to make the ends meet, that's your reality. And at TPUSA, you got to be a little fair to the president. You know, he pulled a sununu. That's what we used to call it when you take a picture of yourself and say you're Jesus. That was a big thing. Chris Sununu used to do that all the time. You couldn't see him, not in a tunic when he was governor. I mean, you know,
I
he's
saw
at a
that
Christian
centerfold
event.
actually.
What do I do with that? What do I do with that?
You know what it makes you do? It makes you say, yeah, he shouldn't have done that. That's what it makes you do, which is what we all just need to agree and move on, which is like, yeah, that was a boneheaded thing to do when you're going to turn up to a Christian event. They don't like that, turns out. So, Chris, you talk about the domestic agenda all the time. We can speculate as to why he took this diversion, as he calls it. But the midterms are going to be about the home field.
Oh, guys, look, I have no problem with you disagreeing with me at all. But as soon as you get disrespectful, that's how you get your butt up out of here. You can disagree with me vehemently if you want. Like, bro, you can disagree with me 100%. I don't care. You can still stay in the chat. It's all about freedom of speech here. But as soon as you get disrespectful, just going to let you know that's going to be your way out. So try to disagree without being disrespectful and you're all good, man.
The war that everybody signed up for, which is what do we do about this? And I think the regime to attack is healthcare. The tariffs did not work for small businesses. They are hurting. And healthcare costs are right up there on the enemy list. Is that the must for anybody who wants to win this midterm?
Well, look, I'll say this. I think to win the midterm, the Democrats are in a strong position. There's no question about it. Let's not forget we've had 2 government shutdowns in the past.
I mean, Liam, I'll give them that. Let's be real. Some small businesses will be affected because they depend on big business for inventory, and the big businesses are the one that's paying these tariffs, and you know that they can't pass down to the small businesses.
6 months,
but overall though, tariffs are a good idea, especially the sector specific ones, because it did get manufacturing to rush back to the United States. I mean, and that's just the fact of the matter. I mean, do I really need to go through the list here, guys? I guess I do. For the Dems. I know the Dems are looking at me like, Seth, come on, really? You really thought it brought back manufacturing? Well, yes, it did, actually. It did bring back manufacturing. AstraZeneca, Novartis, manufacturing hub, research triangle, North Carolina. I mean, cancer drug plant in California. We got food and consumer products. We got Pilgrim's $400 million pre-prepared food plan in Georgia. I mean, these are all happening within the next 3 years or so. Before Trump's get out of office, these will be built, and they're either expanding their current facility or building a whole new one, like Rockwell Automation, Greenfield plant in Wisconsin. I mean, and these are all coming to America because of Trump's tariff, because he got these guys to bring back some of that manufacturing. It either be the sector specific ones, like the one he put on pharmaceuticals and semiconductors, or it be the ones that he put across the board on the world, which he's still getting away with, by the way. So, yep, Boeing, L3 Harry, solid rocket motor manufacturing company, Arkansas, like all this is coming here. And but you see how I'm still going down? These are all projects coming to America. So when people complain about tariffs and Trump bringing back manufacturing, I'm like, bro, I'm be real with you. He kind of did pretty well there. He kind of did his thing on that.
The fact when you're controlling Congress, you got to go out and tout the congressional wins, or people are going to say you're not getting the job.
But is net manufacturing jobs growth? No, actually, because if there's still job loss in other sectors, regardless of the growth in the manufacturing sector, there would still be net job loss. So you're right. Depending all on manufacturing for, I would say analyzing job growth would be incorrect. What I'm saying is that Nah, his tariffs actually did bring back manufacturing and a lot of manufacturing projects that are, well, or construction projects that are breaking down or breaking ground right now that are going to turn into manufacturing opportunities for America, well, manufacturing jobs for Americans. So that's actually coming true. And we'll probably see more of that in 2017, my bad, 2017, in 2027, 2028 time. That's where we're going to see those pop off. But those that I just showed you guys, those are all pretty much broke ground like last year.
Done, we're going to move on. And Democrats understood that. They were primarily responsible for those shutdowns, and they'll probably reap some of the political benefits from it. So that's why I keep going back to the 4 or 5 wins. Don't try to tout, don't try to do it with hyperbole. The economy is the greatest ever. Everything's the greatest ever. No one buys that. You can never tell people. Biden got really in trouble with this, and Trump has to be careful. You can never tell someone that their lived experience isn't real, that their lived experience, that their lived anxieties don't have value. Don't worry, I'm telling you that it's better than you even know. So you got to tout the wins.
Oh, guys, and I know. Some of the chip companies, not all of them, but it was mainly Intel that Biden was working with. So it's mainly Intel. The other chip companies like the Taiwan manufacturing and all that good stuff, they mainly came over due to Trump's sector-specific tariffs on the chips and semiconductors. Like even Apple bringing their chip production, chip production over here is because of the 100% tariffs on chips and semiconductors that come outside of the U.S. I mean, that's the only reason. So we can go ahead and give Biden a high five for Intel making chips, but nah, not all of them, guys, not all.
Where they are, you got to understand that the economy is back into kind of a normal stasis. It's not, unemployment of 1.9% or 2.3% like parts of the country were. We're back in like the 4.3% type range. That's still a healthy economy. And again, the stock market is responding, and those that have saved are going to do well. And the majority of the voting bloc will be the elderly and the base voters. And as you just correctly pointed out, it's that MAGA base, that very conservative base right now that's feeling a little deflated, a little apathetic, to the moment. And so they got to find something to revitalize and recharge him. And the only way to do that is to get beyond Iran, which, again, his base really didn't care for.
Geraldo, you know what Dusty just said?
Point, if I may.
I'm going to give it to you, Geraldo. You know what Dusty just said? I love Geraldo. Sununu for president. That's what Dusty said, just so you know. So he won.
I'll be vice
somebody.
Geraldo will be president. I'll be vice. I'll take number 2.
Dusty will be president. Watch out. The one thing about wins eradicates an issue. If you have a win on illegal immigration, then it's hard to flog illegal immigration as the prop of your popularity. If you have a win against transgender or DEI or all that kind of stuff, once you have the win, you've done the issue, you've won it. Now what? You're flailing around. I have a sense that part of what happened in the last couple of months is the president got bored with his success. He wanted big. He wanted to go, I can do something that no one else could do. I can take down the Ayatollahs who humiliated America half a century ago. It's been 3 or 4 or 5 administrations since then. None have been able to do it. I'm going to do it. I think he was intoxicated with this huge success with Maduro in Venezuela, and now I think that he is interestingly in a space now where you don't know where he's going to land.
Geraldo, is he going to try with Cuba? Is he going to try for another big win with Cuba? What do you think?
Oh, no. Yes.
Oh, man, yeah.
Well, it depends on how badly this.
I mean, come on, guys. Don't you see the writing on the wall? Like it is looking like we're about to try to pull a Venezuela and Cuba. And I mean, let's be real, it's Cuba, so it's going to be a lot easier than Venezuela, believe it or not.
Ends in Iran.
I mean, come on now. It should be pretty easy to see that. And it should be pretty easy to see what we want in Venezuela. I mean, Marco Rubio has been screaming for regime change since the beginning of the administration in Cuba.
If Iran peters on, goes, we make a sort of peace and sort of, if that's what happens, I think that he will try to find the descendants.
He'll try for one more big win, right? Yeah.
And do what John Kennedy could not.
Happen.
You guys are bat blank crazy. Do you understand? We're not going to Cuba unless it's on vacation. Do you understand? We're not going to Cuba.
Yes, we are.
And I hope this
Done that,
ages
done that.
well. Governor Sununu, I'm sure you have, Geraldo. You are the man. I love you each and all. We'll talk again soon. Take care. Former Governor Chris Sununu and Geraldo Rivera, the one and only. 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Congress isn't working for us, all right? They're not getting anything done.
No, they aren't.
And it's not just the shutdown. It's because everything has been shut down. Cooperation is seen as weakness or capitulation. Okay? They haven't even passed the subsidies yet that the majority of Americans want. 3 and 4 of you. I want to introduce you to 2 people who are running for Congress to change that. One in Alabama, one in Virginia. And you want to hear something crazy? You're going to love everything they say, and I'm going to tell them they're dreaming. Next.
All right. All right, let's get over here to our guys over here at Fox News. Let's see what they're saying. Just came out.
Got a little cute as they have been doing.